Hey guys, welcome to the Titanium Vault. I'm your host, RJ Bates. I want to start off this episode first and foremost by apologizing to anyone that listened to last week's episode, because I kind of lied to you and said we'd be back to regular podcast where I'd have some amazing guest that's way more intelligent than me, and that just didn't happen. So I'm going to give the background as to why I'm doing today's episode the way that I am, and explain why there's not a guest. So my buddy Aaron Bevins, during the Closers Olympics, during some of the promo, and even on his podcast, he kept talking about this book called Relentless, written by Tim Grover. If you don't know who Tim Grover is, he was the trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley, a bunch of the NBA greats. And in the book is written about some of the stories that he had with those athletes, but it's very much about the mindset of those players and what differentiated them from the other players, and what made them what he considers unstoppable. And he uses the phrase a cleaner. And throughout the book, it really resonated with me. And I was listening to it on Audible. I started late last week listening to it. It's probably 6-7 hour long listen. I busted it out in a couple of days. Just really fell in love with the idea behind the book. So highly recommended for any CEO or COO or entrepreneur out there. It's a great listen. I actually prefer to listen to it on Audible than reading it, because you get to hear Tim's passion behind the subject, as well as just kind of his personality behind it. And I think that's very important. So while I'm listening to this book, I really felt compelled to do something, and this idea kind of came to me. And look, as a visionary, I think anybody out there can kind of understand this. It's like when the vision comes to you and an idea comes to fruition in your mind, it almost becomes an obsession. Like you can't think about anything else. Nothing else is important, because you just are so passionate about this idea that you have to make it happen. And that's how 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days came about. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to Tim talk about what made Michael Jordan great, and Kobe great, and Dwayne great, and how they would put themselves in positions to do these amazing things. And it just made me think, I am going to go ask Cassie. If I showed up to work on Monday morning and I had nothing else on my plate, no CEO worries, no worry about flips, HR, payroll, finances, taxes, none of that. If I just showed up and my sole responsibility for that day was to get a deal, do acquisitions, do you think I could get a deal that day? She said, of course. Okay. So I said, do you think it would be possible that we got together with everybody, Elijah, Jeremy, everybody in the company, and we said, we're going to take all of my responsibilities away from me and just allow me to focus on acquisitions and dispositions. And we're doing this for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we've had a lot of turnover within the company. We've leaned out the machine. I've been outspoken about that. But I've also been absent from a lot of these aspects of the business over the past couple of years. And I always think it's good to get back in and experience what everybody else is experiencing. The systems that we're using, the data that we're using, how the market's changed, how sellers are reacting to our marketing efforts. And I just felt like this is something that first and foremost I needed to do for Titanium Investments, but also something I needed to do for myself. Um, Following the Closers Olympics, it kind of rejuvenated my spirit for acquisitions, talking to sellers. I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed hearing the feedback from people that attended the Closers Olympics and saw me talk to sellers live, but I also feel like there was a little bit of a misperception as to my closing style. Everybody refers to it as like uber aggressive. Well, that's true, but I was also on a 30-minute shot clock. So I feel like I wanted to showcase a little bit more of my closing techniques and skills that I have and add that value to the community as well. So that being said, we are going to be doing 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days live on my YouTube channel, as well as on my personal Facebook page and in several groups. I'm honored and humbled that Batch, Skip Tracing, Batch Leads, the whole family at Batch has come on board to support these efforts. I'm going to be doing this by myself, one person, using nothing but the Batch systems. So pulling the list through Batch, Skip Tracing through Batch, doing text messaging through Batch, and eventually cold calling through the Batch dialer that's soon to be released. The goal would be that every morning I come in, I'm going to start in a new state. I'm going to have the list pulled and skip traced, and then I'm immediately going to start my marketing efforts to acquire property that day. Now, as the days carry on, it's going to get to a point where I'm going to have to go back and do follow-up and things like that, as well as when I acquire properties, I'm also going to be doing the dispositions as well. And I'm going to be doing all of this live for anyone that wants to sit there and watch my efforts. I hope a lot of people get value out of this. But to be completely transparent with you guys, I'm wanting to do it live because I'm wanting to put myself in a position of pressure. I want to add that pressure to myself. I could have easily sat here and said, hey, I want to do 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days without broadcasting it live. And then if I go out and I get 20 deals, well, that's great. We're going to make a lot of money. But I feel like adding the pressure of doing it live in front of everybody, it adds value to you guys, but it also adds a layer of pressure for myself, which after reading the book Relentless is what I feel like I currently need. So I'm going to expand the screen share here so I can show you guys. I've created a little map that shows, and I don't know how well that's going to show up on there, but this is the map of the cities and states that I'm going to be hitting. I will add this map in the show notes so you can see it. But day one, starting July 27th, so 10 days from now, I'm going to be starting Cleveland, Ohio, day one. We're not actively doing business in Cleveland, Ohio. We are doing some deals in Cincinnati, but I felt like Cleveland was a better market for us to get a deal in one day, and I know buyers there. So Cleveland, Ohio, Kansas City, Missouri, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Jacksonville, Florida. That's going to be the first week. And then I've got every day lined up. So if you're in those markets and you want to specifically watch the day that I'm going to be attacking your market, you can easily join us during those days. So I'm super excited about this. I'm going to do it Monday through Friday. I am going to take the weekends off. So it's going to be a 10-week marathon. I also want to give a shout out to this because this person inspired me to want to do something like this. And that's Pace Morby. He did his 16-hour live And then he followed that up with a 25-hour live, which I laughed because when he did the 16-hour live, I said, man, you've inspired me so much. I want to go do a 24-hour live. And then like a month later, before I could even roll it out, he turned around and released a 25-hour live. I had the honor of being on his show for 30 minutes during that 25-hour marathon, and it was awesome. He adds so much value to the community. I see people always talk about how amazing his content is and how it's changed their life. So what I want to do is try to add similar content, just real life value to you guys. And what I'm most excited about is showcasing some of the struggles that I'm going to face. I've never done 50 deals in 50 days. I've never done deals in 50 states. There's many states on here that I haven't done deals in. I'm extremely nervous about Fargo, North Dakota, or Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Portland, Maine. These are areas that we've never marketed. We don't know any buyers there. I'm going to showcase those struggles. I'm going to show how I can overcome those struggles and find a way to succeed in that. And look, come day one, if I don't get a deal in Cleveland, Ohio, I'm not going to stop. That means come day two, I've got to get 2 deals. I got to get one in Ohio, and then I got to get one in Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm going to showcase that. But my buddy, my best friend Elijah, he talks about execution is the mother of all skills, and I want to showcase that. I want to show how adding the pressure of putting a goal out there and having the determination to not fail, to see what happens. I don't, I'm saying 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days. I don't have any way of guaranteeing that, but I am going to speak it the truth. I am going to give it my all. It's going to be a 10-week marathon. And I think if you asked me before I came up with this idea, could you do this? The answer would be yes. But at some point in time, I don't want to be about talking about it. I just want to be about it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I just want to get in there and I want to prove to myself, prove to everyone else, prove to my team that I can do this. It's something that I feel like we need. It seems like the community, the real estate investing community, is hungry for content like this, live, actionable advice, watching people do it. It's easy to sit behind a microphone and just tell you guys how to do something. It's another thing to be behind the microphone with the lights and cameras on and actually do it and show that. So that's my goal with this. As far as the podcast goes, because I'm going to be doing this from the moment I get to the office till the moment I leave, the podcast is going to be a little bit different. We are going to have an episode next week. Mr. Real Estate Disruptor himself, Steve Trang, is finally going to be on the Titanium Vault. So very much looking forward to that episode. But we're going to find ways to do some creative episodes throughout this 10-week marathon. I promise you we'll still have the podcast going on. Cassie will have to step in for some. We might have some special guest hosts through some episodes, but we're going to find a way to keep adding value to you guys through the podcast. But if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, just go search RJ Bates III. Please subscribe to it. All of the content is going to be live on there. If you're not following me on Facebook, make sure you do that as well. Just search RJ Bates III. We're going to broadcast all of these live from the moment I get up and I get to the office to the moment I leave. I'm going to be just adding content and trying to search and find sellers and find buyers. I think I've got a pretty good plan as far as transaction coordination and the data and all of that, but I'm going to showcase the struggles as well. So very much looking forward to this challenge, guys. I hope it adds value to you guys and y'all's business as well. Appreciate the opportunity to do this for everyone that joins me in this journey. So that's what I've got for you this week. Like I said, make sure you tune in next week for the special interview with Steve Trang, Mr. Real Estate Disruptor. We're going to talk about, his sales closing techniques, which hopefully I can get some tips from him before I embark on this journey, but also all of the amazing things he does, being one of the top real estate brokerages in Phoenix, Arizona, probably being the #1 podcast for real estate investors. Just awesome opportunity to have him on the podcast next week. So hope you guys are excited about this. We're starting July 27th, day 1, Cleveland, Ohio. See you guys then.